Prepare for what's coming and dominate in economic winter. Stand strong and thrive by showcasing your great products and services globally through the Black Business Network and Black Business Olympics. The Black Business Network has showcased over 2,000 companies with over $7 billion in sales each year. Over 10 million attendees have viewed the rebroadcast each month. Through the Black Business Olympics, unique styles of business training and mentoring are turning students into business owners and entrepreneurial warriors who will dominate in any economy. Gain the ultimate advantage of the Black Business Olympics, 7 days of unbelievable topics and speakers speaking around the globe. Donate your time and experience to provide expertise and scholarships to students worldwide and change the world. Now, more than ever, new insights, tools, strategies, and capabilities are needed. This is your chance for a major presentation to the world. Fill out the form and join the more than 2,000 speakers who have presented to over 200 countries. Join the Black Business Network streaming live into the Metaverse, STEM City, Black Multiverse Enterprises, Hulu, Amazon, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pod TV, IBM TV, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Sign up today. Spaces are limited, and we will see you there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mary D Show. We are back again on another beautiful Monday. And I always say a beautiful Monday because that's what it is. We're in Southern California. The sun is shining. Every now and then it rains, but it's rare. It's just normally sunny days. So welcome. I'd like to thank you to our live viewers. Thank you, live viewers. Thank you to our replay viewers. Thank you, replay viewers. All of you means so much, and we're glad that you're here today. We also want to thank our executive producer, hi babe, our executive producer, Oliver Welch. He's been executive producer ever since the show started and the biggest and most loyal supporter. I think he's been almost every show. He tends to be, he's in the background. You guys don't see him. As you know, he comes and he says hi at Christmas time to everybody. And that's when I try to bring the family out and say hi to everybody. So they watch the show, but you guys never get the chance to see them. But they come out at Christmas. I'd like to thank you to our sponsors for today's show. Today, we have the Idea Club. If you are looking to have an S Corp, a C Corp, 501c3, you want to contact the Idea Club and they can help you. That's Dumas Martin Jr. They can help you. You would just call you just go to theideaclub.com and they can help you with that. If you're looking to write or publish a book, our other sponsor is Front Page Publishing. You go to frontpagepublishing.com. If you've already written the book, you can go there and get it published. Or if you would like to write a book, I talk to people daily who want to write a book and they don't know where to start. So we can help you get started, write the book, you name it. We do literally, as they say, from soup to nuts. We do it all with Front Page Publishing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were here last week, let me really share to you. Really, if you weren't here, you missed a treat. Let me tell you that. But when this beautiful, beautiful lady comes back on, we have to do a part 2. That's just how much information. I mean, when I tell you, the first time I heard her, I couldn't write fast enough. Think about that. I was trying to hurry and write it down because it was so much good information that I spoke to her briefly before that we went live. And I said, why is it that we don't learn this in school? Why is it that this is not a topic that we speak about? I don't have the answer to that, but we need it. Everything that she's saying, ladies and gentlemen, we need. And she's going to break it down so you can figure out for yourself where you are with your mortgage payments, your interest rates, things that how you can save money. I mean, it's so much. She's so knowledgeable. So I'm going to read you her bio. It's not a long bio. It's really when I look at it, I'm like, this doesn't really talk about how good she really is. That's okay. But I will tell you this: you don't want to miss anything. So I'm going to read this to you so you can have an idea of just what kind of a special lady this is. And you think about it, she's taking time out of her day, ladies and gentlemen. She's a busy woman. And I know when I tell you, and she knows how I feel about this, I don't know if she would mind if I say anything, but her husband is ill, but he's better. But the point is, she still has made time for you to let you know that during, well, I shouldn't say ill. He's recuperating. That's the better way to say it. I'm sorry about that, but he's recuperating. But she still has said, you know what? If I can help one person in our community live a better life financially, then that's what she wants to do. Her name is Brandy Hubbard. She's an executive manager and financial educator with American Classic Agency. Has dedicated over 24 years as a licensed life, health, and annuities agent. Her unwavering mission to be an agent of change, empowering families across the United States to protect their income, eliminate debt, and create generational wealth. Wow, who doesn't want to do that? Her passion for this cause extends beyond her professional role as she actively mentors for Black brand women who lead program and hosts free financial and wellness workshops, spreading her knowledge and expertise throughout Hampton Roads, Virginia, and other parts of the U.S. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to welcome to the show the one and only Brandy Hubbard. Brandy? Welcome back, Brandy. I tell you, it's a pleasure and an honor for you to have you back. As I said before, I know your husband's recuperating, and but for you to take time, we really want to thank you for that to still come.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate you giving me the time and this platform to try to educate, as many people as we can
Right,
on the importance of getting their financial house in order.
right.
Yes, it's so important because you never know when it's going to touch your life personally,
True,
right?
true.
We
Hmm.
always feel like, oh, I heard about someone with cancer, or I heard about someone who had a heart attack.
Hmm.
But if it hasn't happened to you personally or
Yeah,
someone that's very close to you,
yep.
sometimes you just don't think it's going to happen, right?
That's right. We do. Hmm.
So what I want to do is kind of bring awareness
Hmm.
to the information that's really needed because the system, it was not designed for us to win.
No.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. Okay. So, my goal here today is to help, in educating our community,
Hmm.
especially communities of color, right? The strategies that are out here that can help us,
Right,
but not only help us, but position us to be able to create generational wealth.
right,
But
right,
in order to do that, it all starts with changing our mindset for number one,
right.
right? We need to get rid of that kind of language like, I'm not leaving them nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard
You-
people say that. I've heard it.
I'm telling you, I hear it more than I would like to admit. I'm not leaving them nothing. Or you could just put me in a cardboard box when I leave here.
Mhm.
What kind of foolishness is that?
No,
Do you really think your family's gonna put you in a cardboard box?
no.
You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
And then that's selfish because what you're really doing is leaving that burden on
Yep,
someone else,
yep,
right? So we have to take accountability and we have to do better.
yeah.
And hopefully, if you know better, you do better,
That's right.
right?
That's
So
right.
that's our goal. There's a lack of financial education and
Mm.
access to wealth building strategies.
Right.
So I really want y'all to, listen closely I'm gonna, share these gems. I know I was asked to share some certain information again, because you sometimes you really do need to hear something more than once,
You
right?
do. You do.
Right? Yeah, and especially if you've never heard it before.
Right.
I know the audience is like, we don't know her from a can of paint.
That's okay though. But we have one of
Right.
our guests that just wants to say hello, and that's Victoria. Hi,
Hi,
Victoria. She's talking.
Victoria.
And
Yeah.
anybody want to leave comments? You welcome
Yes,
to
please do. Because, I feed off of your energy. And a lot of times when you talk about things like this, some people find it, is boring, but it's not boring if you really pay attention and get the nuggets that I'm going to drop, right? And I'm going to make it a little bit more exciting, right? So I can keep your attention and keep you engaged. But more importantly than anything else, hopefully educate you on some things that you just never thought about, or, just to refresh your mind on it, because it's time to put these GoFundMe
Yep.
accounts to rest.
You're
We
right.
need to write rest in peace to these GoFundMe accounts,
Yep.
because at the end of the day, your family is already going through an emotional devastation.
Yep.
You do not need to go through a financial devastation on top of it.
That's right.
And just to really connect with our audience here, Mary, I am going to be transparent, right? Because my husband was just fine just a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
He was not having any symptoms, no issues at all. And thank goodness he had a good doctor that took the time out to go a step above. And it's hard to find doctors like that,
That's right.
because it was not that doctor's job to really go through his whole,
Mhm.
history, for him to have been able to find that. he
Mhm.
had to really he had to really be looking at his chart. You
Right.
get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, to make a long story short, my husband is in the hospital as we speak,
Mhm.
recovering from
Oh.
a triple bypass, but what should have been a quadruple bypass, right?
Mm.
And he had no symptoms at all. He doesn't have no high blood pressure. He doesn't have high cholesterol. Most people associate a heart attack or anything like that with high cholesterol. He
Right.
didn't have a heart attack, but he was walking around like a ticking time bomb, right?
Mhm.
Had he not been encouraged by his hematologist at that, right? a
Right.
blood
Right.
a blood doctor told him, "Look, I was going through your chart. Has anybody ever told you your arteries have plaque?" And he was like, "What?" And I was with him. So we both were like, "What you talking about? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? You gotta be wrong. Let me see that chart. What you talking about?"
Mhm.
And he was like, "Well, we want you to go to, I'm recommending you go to a cardiologist like ASAP."
Wow.
And so we like, what? Well, we're like, okay, we'll just go. But we started, sometimes your mind will say, "I'm just fine. Well, I'm not gonna go." But he was like, "You know what?" I said, "No, you know what? Let's just follow up on what he's saying, right?
Right.
He's a doctor,
Right.
he's an expert. Let's
Mhm.
just follow up and see how this play out." And we just knew he was gonna be fine. And let me tell you, he went to the cardiologist right away, right? And from that point, it was just like boom, everything was just moving so fast. That can make your head spin too.
It really can.
Because you start thinking, "Oh, it's telling me the truth." You know what I'm saying? Like,
You do.
it's
Well, the first step is denial.
right,
We deny this anything ever. That's just how we are.
right. He gotta be wrong. Look, look, look. My husband's like, you think they just want this money? You know what I start saying all this kind of stuff, right? And so, to the point where, he went and took the stress test, and then when he had the catheterization done, it was like, "I'm gonna stay awake. Cause I'm gonna need when you go in there to, put that dye in, I want to see it on the screen."
Yeah. Yeah.
And the doctor was like, "You sure you wanna stay?" He was like, I'm gonna stay awake. And he was like, he said it wasn't that bad. He said it felt like a little burning,
Mhm.
when the liquid was going in, but And the doctor was like, if you have any blockage, we could just go ahead and put a stent in, and you'll be done, and good to go after a day, day off your feet, back to work or whatever your plans are.
Right.
But when he went in there, it was so much blockage that he was like, we can't even put a stent, right?
Wow.
So, I mean, and to go from that to like, you need a triple or quadruple bypass. That's like, so imagine if we didn't have our financial house in order. We'd be up the creek without a paddle.
Right.
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 So that's why I want you all, everyone who's paying attention today. And, I'm sure my husband didn't mind me sharing that, right? Because, some people, they don't share, right? Certain information,
Right.
they're private. And I understand that. But if we start sharing, right,
Mhm. That's right.
we may be able to help somebody else.
That's right.
Because Mary and I were talking before the show, and I was like, can you imagine? Can you imagine? They have to do something differently, because what I do know, being in the insurance business for 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
and sitting down with clients and having to go through their medical information, because you have to go through the medical information to get them qualified for coverage, right?
Right.
Sometimes I feel like I went to medical school. But I say that to say that my husband had no symptoms, no high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, no diabetes, none of that. So you would just assume that you good.
Yeah.
So we were talking about maybe they should start allowing us to have a stress test, at least by age 60,
Mhm.
maybe 65, the latest, because you could be walking around not even knowing that your arteries are clogged,
Right.
and you're walking around like a ticking time bomb, because a massive stroke or a massive heart attack can take you out of here.
That's right.
So I'm definitely going to look into that, right? That's going to be one on my to-do list. But we're going to talk a little bit about having things in place in
Mm-hmm.
the event something like that happens, because what statistically, what most people don't know is, what if you have a heart attack or a stroke or something major happens to you and you don't die, but you can't work,
Mm. That's real. That's
right?
real. Mm-hmm.
What if you can't work, you can't pay your bills, you don't have anything in place? Over 60% of foreclosures and homelessness are the result of a disability,
I never knew that.
because there's so many people that are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. Living paycheck to paycheck is real. And some people are just one emergency away, right? What if, I know the average person I sit down with, they do not have $5,000 in
Mm-hmm.
their bank account.
Right.
If all four of your tires go, sometimes, because girl, I used to go with my daughter, and she was like, she needed all four tires. Gonna be, she's like, it's like the 1,400. I was like, $1,400. Like, it's these days, it's like $300 to $400
A
for
tire.
one tire.
I know. We had to do all four about a month ago. And I called my husband. He told me how much it was. I said, "What did you say?"
Right?
Because I was like, we never do all four. We usually do two in the
Two at a
front.
time, right? Two at
And,
a time.
but he
But
said,
if your tires are going bald, and see, I live in a state where we have to do inspection, and if your tires aren't good, you fail, right?
"Wow."
I don't know what other states do that, but in Virginia, you have to do a state inspection once a year, right?
I don't think we
So
do it here. I don't think so.
that's $1,600 for four tires. That's her money.
Woo.
And when you're a single mom, with three kids, and you live in paycheck to paycheck, so that's part of getting your financial house in order, right?
It
Part
is.
of your financial house is having emergency funds in place,
Mm-hmm.
How many of y'all, we're going to do a self-evaluation while we're doing this presentation today. How many of y'all have emergency funds? And we're talking at least minimum is 3 months. But in today's economy, Mary,
Woo.
with this administration laying off and firing everybody,
Yeah,
do you know how many people are going to be out of work and looking for a job? It's hard enough to find a job now.
it is.
What if you lose your job? You know, you could be out of work for months.
That's right. That's
What
right.
if it takes you 6 months to find a job?
And this,
And you live in an apartment or a house and you can't pay your bills
it is
because unemployment,
a shock to everybody's system. Is what is happening. Even if you're not a government employee, I think our heart goes out to those that are.
right, right,
Mhm.
absolutely. I know so many, and I'm in a high military area.
You sure are.
Hampton Roads, Virginia, everything's here. Air Force, Army, Navy, everything is here, right? And hi Oliver, hi Sheila. How y'all doing? Thanks for joining. So you need those emergency funds, a
Yep.
minimum of 3 months, but if you can, at least 6 months, right?
Right.
And it may take you some time to build up those emergency funds.
Right.
But like my dad used to tell me, I don't care if you make $25 a week, save 5 of it, right?
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you, everybody on the show today
Yeah.
waste some money, including me. Including me. And I know better, right?
And
I know better,
you have the knowledge.
right? Okay. So we need those emergency funds, 3 to 6 months, right? 6 months being ideal. We
Mhm.
need something in place for short and long-term illness, right?
Okay.
We need some type of tax-free retirement in our portfolio.
Okay.
We need some risk-free investments, because if you're on this call or this on the show today and you're over 50,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you don't have any risk-free investments in place, what you don't want is to have all your stuff in high risk.
Right.
Because if you're trying to retire by 65, let's say, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot of time if you lose in the market to kind of recoup that.
You don't. Mm-mm.
And Mary, let me tell you, I've been talking to some people recently, and it makes my heart, like, it really hurt, because I've sat down with people who are over 65 who are still working. And back in 2021, 2022, when the market took a hit,
Right.
a lot of them lost 50%.
Wow.
50% of what they had worked so hard to get, right?
And the
And why
market
is that?
it's dipped. It went down again now.
Right. So why is that, right? One of the reasons is, a lot of times, not just government workers or state workers, but even in private industry, a lot of times when you get to work and they give you those forms when you start working, right? And you have to fill out where you want to allocate your money, and you're sitting there scratching your head because you're like, I don't know where to put this money, right? You just kind of doing eeny, meeny, gypsalini, right? Eeny, meeny, gypsalini,
Yeah.
and you just be checking buckets. You have no idea what you're checking.
Exactly.
And then guess what happens? After that, you don't look at it again. 10 years have passed. You've been on a job 10 years, 15 years. You're bleeding. Your money is bleeding, but you don't know, because one, you didn't take the time to look at your investments at least once a year. Everyone should be doing that. You can do that even if you're on a job. You can go to your employer. They should send you forms out once a year. Most companies will send you out a form telling you to reallocate your funds, and most people are like, reallocate it? I didn't know what to do with the first time, right? You know
You
what
know,
I'm saying?
let's stop
So,
for just a quick moment, because we have, like you said, all of the comments. And it says, hi, Mrs. Hubbard. Thank you for returning to the show and bless us with your knowledge and expertise in your field. And this is from the executive
thank you so much, Oliver. I appreciate
And
that.
Sheila's comment. Oh, Sheila says, she said, hi, Mary. But she also said on here, Sheila says, awesome. The stream looks nice. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Sheila's a super fan. She
Oh,
me
hey,
like
Sheila.
Sheeta's a super fan, and then here is Ruby. Ruby's a super fan. Hi, Ruby. Ruby was in Africa for like 3 months. She says, "Hello, I'm glad you had this guest again. Our people need to have this information on replay." Yes.
Yes, yes,
Then we have
absolutely,
here's I'm
absolutely.
going through them real quickly. Linda says, "Amen to that." Hi, Linda. I had
Oh,
Linda.
that's a good question, Linda. I see it in the chat. She
Okay.
says, "Can you give us an example of risk-free investments?" Yes,
Okay.
that's a great question.
She said, "Please have a part 3 about investments."
Okay. And then there's one, there you go. Can you give us an example of risk-free investment? Yes,
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Thank you. Okay.
Most people know about the stock market, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're and when you're doing investments, you can do what they call allocated. And that basically what that just means is, choosing which buckets. Like you have different buckets that you can invest in, right?
Right.
Whether it's the S&P 500, whether they're high risk global market buckets. Um, when you go to choose, it'll say high risk, medium risk, low risk,
Right.
right? And a lot of the low risk investments are like fixed products, right?
Mm.
Maybe real estate, bonds, things of that nature. And you can put them in a fixed bucket. Okay.
Okay.
So if it's in a fixed bucket, the fixed bucket might be paying, 3%, 4%,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're fortunate, maybe 5%, right?
Right.
Um, a lot of people tend to want to go with the stock market because they hear these interest rates, right? They'll
Mhm.
say like you can get 14%. Oh, you get excited about that, right? But
Yeah.
here's the problem with that. You might get 14% this year and
Mm-hmm.
a negative
14.
15% next year, right?
Exactly.
So if you do your homework, right, and you go online and you track how the stock market has done, let's say over the last 15 years,
Right.
what you'll find out is, yeah, even though they had some of those years where they had good returns, the 14, 15%, you had so many different negative years in there that
Right.
when you average it out, it's not much better necessarily than if you had it in a middle, risk type of vehicle, right? It
Right.
may average out to be about 5%.
Right.
Whereas if you put it in a risk free altogether, where even if you were only getting 4 to 5% every year, you're not going to have those years where you lost a lot.
Right.
Y'all follow me?
Now, is this?
So
Are you
mhm,
talking? Excuse me. I mean to interrupt you, but are you mean? Is it a tax sheltered annuity that you're speaking about, or is it?
it could be an annuity, right? We have what they call an equity index annuity.
Okay.
So it's called an equity index annuity. Now, an
Yes.
equity index annuity is nice and it's sweet because it gives you the ability to have stock market gains without ever losing. And we talked a little bit about this last week. So, for instance, you may have some of your money in certain buckets, but the company is telling you, look, we're going to allow you to get stock market gains without ever losing. How can they afford to do that? Well, the way they're able to do that is, let's say the market is at 10, let's say the stock market was at 10%, right?
Okay.
They're going to say, well, Mary, we're not going to give you the full 10% because we're telling you that when the market crashes, you're never going to lose. So
Mm.
to offset that,
Uh-huh.
right? What we're going to do is we're going to give you what's called a participation rate. So
Um,
let's say the market is at 10%
mm-hmm.
and this particular product that we put you in has an 85% participation rate. Then if the stock market is doing 10%, we'll give you 8.5%.
Got it.
The company keeps the difference, right?
Right.
Well, why is that? Because they got to make money too, right?
Right.
But when that market crashes and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's at negative 10 or whatever it is, and they're losing money, you don't. You stay at what's called a 0% floor.
Wow.
Okay. And what is a 0% floor? A 0% floor means at that time when the market is crashing, you don't gain any money, but you don't lose any money either.
So you get to stay at that 8.5. Do you still
You
earn?
get to stay. You get to stay wherever that money is. So let's say you had 100,000 in there, right?
Okay, got
And
you.
then that 100,000 went to the 108, 0.500. Okay, but now the market crashes. Your 108,000 will stay at 108.
And
You're
it's
not gonna you're not gonna gain during that crash, but you're not gonna lose during that crash either.
wow.
Okay,
Okay.
which if most people knew about it, they'd probably be like, "Well, I want." You know what I'm saying? Why risk,
Yeah.
being fully in the stock market if knowing that the stock market has its ups, it fluctuates so much. You get a high percentage here, then negative here. It just fluctuates. So some people are like, I never heard of that, Brandy. I never heard of that before.
I haven't
So
either. I haven't.
that's an option, and of course you can diversify if you're younger, and you like, I want to take the risk. I'm 30, 35 years old. I still have 30 years to go. You may put more in a higher risk, right? But you still don't want to put everything in high risk, right? I don't care, if you're 30 or not. You
Right.
don't want everything, because if everything crashes, you don't want to lose everything. If I put, let's say, 25% in a fixed, right? Maybe
Right.
another 25% in a medium risk, and then maybe the other 50% in a high risk. At least I know that even if the market crashes, I'm gonna still have some money, right?
Right.
But see, the issue is so many people, when they first start out and they put them in the higher risk or the medium risk, and they never change it. And I've seen it, Mary, where people been on a job 25 years and never changed it.
Oh, I believe it.
Never even looked at it because they don't know what they're looking at.
Right.
And then next thing you know, it's like they lost 50 grand here and another 50 grand there. And then by the time they hit retirement age, they don't even have $25,000 in there. Because here's the other thing: when you have 401k or 403b or TSP, right? A lot of times people will take money out for hardship purposes or to purchase a home and do this and do that. So by the time it's time to retire, they have no money to retire on.
Yeah.
And
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, then you find yourself, and time goes like this. Time waits for no one, right?
That's
So
right.
now you're 65 and ready to retire. But how are you going to retire? Social Security isn't enough. And we like to call it social insecurity, because by the time I'm ready to take it, I don't even know if it's going to be there anymore. Social insecurity. Okay. So you know what I'm saying? And with the new administration, child, we don't know what's going to be around, right?
No.
So you can't rely on Social Security.
Nope. You can't.
Right? And then there's not a lot of jobs anymore that even have pensions and retirement plans in place.
You have to do your own now. That's what they're saying, is you have to save for your own retirement.
And a lot of times when you should be thinking about retirement, you really should be doing it at 30, 35 years old. Now, who's thinking about it at 30, 35 years old?
They're not.
When do you really get serious about it? When you're 55? Oh, you only have 10 more years? Yeah. And do you know, I can't even begin to tell you how many people I know who are over 70 and still working. Not because they want to, but because they have to.
Right.
Right.
So I get it. I know too. Before we go on, we have our audience. Let's go on, and they're making their comments. And did I say hi to Ruby? I think I did. Ruby's comment. Okay, we got there. Thank you, Ruby. Nice seeing you. And Ruby's a super fan. And this is Linda. Oh, she gave you the example, Linda. And Antonio. Antonio's a super fan. Hi, Antonio.
Hi, Antonio.
Yeah, he comes in. Antonio is. I mean, when I tell you, he's here every.
Aww.
And this is Linda. Linda says, "Thank you so much for the secure, low risk investments, where your consistent increases as we keep growing our investments. Thank you so much."
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And another comment is Linda said, Linda, Make sure we get your comment in. Says, so we should choose a secure bucket at the zero floor and ride the wave of the market.
So depending on your age and where you are and what you have, right? You want to diversify. So you can put some of your savings in a higher risk, and some in medium, or a percentage in a more secure, low risk, bucket. So that would really depend on your age, what you have saved, how many more years you want to work, and that's where sitting down with someone like myself, or someone that you already know could help you with, right? But that's definitely something that I can talk with you about one on one if you're interested in that.
Okay.
But what I want to do is
Okay.
I want to go ahead and dig into the truth behind the mortgage debt, because they wanted to learn more about that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we talked about how we call it the truth behind the mortgage debt, right?
Mhm.
Why are people in trillions of dollars of debt? It's so easy to get in debt, especially when you have a credit card. Ooh, those credit cards are the devil. I'm telling you, you know, because when you have a credit card, you don't even think about the cost sometimes. You just be swiping and swiping. And before you know it, right?
Ah,
So I had this conversation with my son. I was like, wait a minute, you earn a good income.
mhm.
Why are you always broke?
Yeah.
So I said, let's sit down, because you're supposed to be my protege out here having a, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to know better.
Uh,
Okay. So let's sit down and attack what you're doing. So
okay.
we sit down, we go over the bank statement. He done went to Wawa for coffee. He done bought a sandwich. You get what I'm saying? He done bought lunch every day of the week. And then before you know it, he got some gas, and he bought a Slurpee from 7-Eleven. And before
Mhm.
you know it, at the end of the week, I'm like, did you realize you spent $300
Wow.
this week on junk? Between gas and donuts and lunch, right? So it's good for you guys to have a budget sheet. And I have a budget sheet that I use, that if anyone want to reach out to me, we can get you that budget sheet. But here's another thing you could do too. There's so many great budget apps that are out there,
Mhm.
like your own bank account that you bank with. A lot of them have budget apps as well, right? But here's my suggestion too. You should set you up a separate account that is your, I call it the have a good time account, right?
Okay.
So when you get paid, after you've gone through your budget, you're going to
Mhm.
allocate a certain amount for your have a good time account.
Mhm.
So if you get paid every 2 weeks, for instance, let's just say, and you say, okay, so my have a good time is going to be $150. I don't know, $150 out of each check. That's $300 a month. Whether it's to go out to eat, right? To go to a movie,
Right. Right.
right? To go to a show, whatever it is you like to do.
Right.
And everybody's budget's different. So you may allocate $300 a month for you, because and she might have $500 a month for her. But guess what? That's your separate account. So when you out there having a good old time and that $300 is gone, then your good time is over for that month. So when your friends call you up talking about, man, can you come here? Let's go hit a movie. Sister broke, can't do it until I replenish my have a good time account.
Yeah.
But that keeps you on track, right? And some months you may not use up all of your have a good time money, and
Right.
you can still have it there for maybe next month, right?
Right.
But it just keeps you mindful of
Yeah.
how much money you're spending, because if you spend that have a good time money in a week,
Yeah.
then something's not right. You're not really paying attention, because $10 here, $20 there, 30, that all adds up.
It
And
does.
that's why my son was shocked. He was like a deer caught in headlights. Oh my goodness. Did I really did I do that?
Why?
$300. No way I spent $300, Ma. Yes, you did. So if you're doing that every week,
What
300, 6, 9, that's $1,200
is a month?
that month. That's
Oh,
somebody rent.
did he wasn't well, obviously he makes a good income, so he didn't feel it. He wasn't
Oh,
feeling
he felt it.
it.
He felt it. You know where he felt it? Look, Ma, can I get $50 to paycheck? Right? Can I borrow $100 to paycheck time? Right?
That's too
You don't
funny.
want to have to do that.
No,
Right? Oh, Linda said that's me.
here's we got and Elaine was hi Elaine. Elaine's a super fan also.
Yep.
Elaine,
So
Elaine.
you really that can help you so much.
Oh
It
my goodness. Just writing it, just having a budget. But
might
what you're really saying is you allocated that and now you know what money is spent on that.
right.
Okay.
Because if you decide you're going to go to Roof Chris Steakhouse,
Yeah.
which is an arm and a leg, right?
Yes.
And look, and you spent $150 just for one person to eat,
Yeah.
then well, you say, how we always say, I'm gonna treat myself. Or
Well,
some of us ladies, we're gonna go get our nails done and our hair done and this and that. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Some of us are good. Now I'm good in this department, and I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes. Nobody say you can't have, your bag, your pocketbook matching your shoes, and you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
does it have to be $1,000 pocketbook? Really? Are we making everybody else rich? Right?
That's true.
These name brands. Can you buy a red pocketbook that is not necessarily, Fendi or whoever, right?
Right, right.
Our priorities aren't right,
That's
right?
true.
We're
That's true.
spending all this money on Gucci this or Fendi that, or sometimes we just have to, you can still look nice. You know what I'm saying? You could still look nice. You could get a whole outfit for $100 if you shop like me. And everybody be like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But it's just trying to be more budget conscious, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is, have your nails and your hair and the pocketbooks and the this, but now you don't have your lights went out.
And I've heard of that too.
Yes.
That people did do things like that. To me, I've always been taught you take care of the roof over your head first, and then everything comes next. You don't do the other way around. You don't do your nails, your hair, and everything, and then worry about the roof. It's like no, you need a place to live first.
Many people are, spending money on things that there's nothing wrong with having nice things,
Right.
but you have to prioritize things, right?
That's
You
true.
have to make sure. I used to tell my kids all the time, look, make sure you have your rent paid, right? And enough for food. You can always get some candles if the lights go. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
it's true. It's true.
make sure, so, and a lot of people, Mary, and we're talking about grown folk people who go out, have a good time, go out drinking and dancing and all of this, and then be like, don't have the money for the rent.
Mm-mm. No, I don't. I just don't see that.
So,
That's got to be
yeah,
a priority. It's got to
yeah,
be a priority.
yep. So let's get to the truth behind the mortgage debt, right? You're
Okay.
on that 5%. So we have a 30-year fixed mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
The mortgage is 300,000. The monthly payment was 1,610. So what we talked about last week was out of that 1,610, what most people don't know or don't realize is $1,250 of that is going to who? Mr. Interest.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? Out of a $1,610 payment, only 1250 of that went to interest, and only $360 of your payment actually went to principal.
Wow.
Now, when you stop and think about it, isn't that eye-opening?
It is. It really is, because you don't think of, you think of, I'll speak for me. You just think, oh, I'm just making the payment. I don't even look at the breakdown. I do know what the insurance is, and that's about it. I know that what's been added to the payment because it's escrow.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know what that means it's in a separate account, but it looks like it's in the mortgage payment, but it's actually it's held by the company.
Right. If you do your insurance and your taxes in your mortgage. So a lot of times, which I, did when I first bought my house too, I put my, taxes and my insurance in my mortgage payment so I wouldn't have to worry about that separately.
Right.
But what most people don't do, like you said, Mary, is they don't look at that breakdown. Because when you break it down and you look at it, it make you want to throw up.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say it like that, but it do.
It does.
You fall out the chair. Only 12.50 went to interest, and they're getting all that interest up front, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to take 12.50 and divide that by 1610, that's how much interest you paid for that month.
Wow.
And what's the answer, y'all? Everybody's being interactive. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate this. We trying to just keep things real here. If you take that 1250 divided by 1610, who got the answer? That's 78%.
Wow.
78% of your payment went to interest.
Wow. That's so hard to even stomach. Wow.
And then, okay, but that's just in the early years, right? So you say to yourself, "Oh, Brandy, by year 10, it got to be better than that. By year 10, it got to be better than that." Well, in year 10, out of that 1,610, right? 1,009 is now going to interest.
Wow.
Okay, and only what? 601 is going to your principal.
Woo.
So you're saying it's better. It's a little tad bit better. Now instead of paying 78% interest, you're paying 63%. 63%, right? 63% after 10 years. Well, Brandy, by year 20, come on, girl. Make me feel a little better here. Gotta be better by year 20. This tad bit, right? By year 20, out of that 1610, right? 620 is going to interest and 990 is going to principal. Okay, that's a lot better, but guess what? That's still 39%. 39%. Okay. Now, Brandy, year 29. Year 29.
Okay.
Year 29. Y'all hear me on that one? I said it 50 times just so y'all can get it. Year 29 is when you get that 5%. And it's actually 5.3% by year 29.
Year 29.
So basically, a $300,000 house you bought, if all you did was pay the mortgage like they're telling you to, never add any additional payments, right? Take those 30 years to pay it, you're going to pay close to 300 grand in interest. Now, people say, well, I'm in my house. I bought a house. It's my house. You pay for a house twice. You would have paid for that house twice, basically.
I'm just sitting up here amazed.
Right? If you take the full 30 years, you pay for that house twice, right?
And listen to what Elaine said. Elaine is telling all of us, which is true. It says, "Hi, Mary Brandy, this is such important information. My parents' investment was to save to buy our house. Other investments weren't talked about. Even at my age, I need this information to share." Tell me. We all do. This is so interesting that with all the education we have, they never talk about this.
Right.
It is not even in there. And we have Linda. She's saying, or Linda said on here, it's a Begato.
Spaghetto with that.
Begato. I don't know if that means, is that an investment, Linda? An investment vehicle? I'm not sure. And then she said too, wow, yes, this bank still owns our home. Their job is to keep you in debt.
That's right. Their job is to keep us in debt. And my opening in this presentation was this system was not designed for us to win. And that's why it's so important for us to learn the wealth building strategies that the wealthy have been doing for years.
Wow. And then Ruby
Like,
said,
yep, you only own it. Yep.
you only own the house if it was completely paid off. Then you have property taxes.
I know. Then they got the nerve to pay for this, and now you want me to still pay for it.
Yeah.
They got to have their hands in the pot, right?
Yeah.
And some people teach them, oh, instead of teaching them wealth building strategies, they teach them, oh, just keep paying on a house so that you can have write off on your taxes. Well, why would I want to do that? Why wouldn't I want to pay it off, right? But at the end of the day, we show you how even if you choose not to pay it off, you build up enough money where you can pay it off if you wanted to. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay. So everybody on here may not own a house. So let's talk about these credit cards real quick because we don't have a lot of time left. So even with credit cards, this kills people. Mary, so many people are swimming in credit card debt because, like I said, it's so easy to swipe.
It is.
And then that interest right now, 29%, right?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So we're going to be generous. We're going to give you all a $10,000 credit card today. Everybody's like, yes. I'm going on a trip. You know what I mean? They going to Hawaii, right? They going to max that card. Max that card out. But here's the crazy part. Whoever came up with the credit system, they keep telling you, oh, because credit, if you have good credit, you good, right? But why you gonna give me a $10,000 limit, but then tell me I shouldn't spend more than 30%?
It's true.
I don't know about you, Mary.
Yeah.
But if you give somebody 10 grand,
they're gonna
spend more than some 30%. So you're telling me on a $10,000 limit, I shouldn't go over 3,000.
That's right.
That's what you're telling me. Girl, now you know. Randy, girl, that card gonna be at 9,999.
That's right.
In no time.
Yeah.
Now, here's the sad part about that. The credit cards make me cringe because it's killing our people.
Yeah.
If you get a $10,000 credit card with 29% interest and your minimum payment is $341.67, how many people you think gonna pay the minimum?
Everybody.
The majority.
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon, look, and if they're not paying the minimum, Mary, out of 341, they might send 350.
Yeah.
Know, they might, you know what I'm saying, tack on a few more dollars, right? But if they paid the minimum, it would take you, and I like to use the large number because it makes people think. It shocks you a little bit. Do you know it would take you 363 months to pay that card off? 363 months. Now do the math for me, y'all. 363 months divided by 12 is what? 30 years. It would take you 30 years to pay off that credit card.
At the minimum.
At the minimum. 30 years.
I'll tell you, I try to always add more to the credit. No matter what, someone told me this, always pay more than, even if you put $10 more, but always pay more than the minimum. Never just pay the minimum.
The best thing to do is if you buy something on your credit card to pay it before the interest hits. So if you buy something on the first of the month, pay it by the 29th so that you don't pay any
Interest.
at all, right? But can you imagine 30 years to pay off
No,
$10,000?
no.
But then when you do finally pay it off, let's say you just did the minimum, in
Mhm.
that time you would have paid $23,000 in interest off of 10,000 you borrowed.
Wow.
Do you see why we're swimming in debt? But then people say, well, I went to my credit union. I went to my credit union and I didn't get 29%, I got 15%.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see what 15% interest will do.
He's like, okay.
Right? Let's see. Now, last time I checked, 15 plus 15 was 30, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you get 15%, that's almost half of 29%, right?
Correct.
But guess what? Instead of 363 months to pay it off,
Mm-hmm.
it would take you at 15%, almost half the interest rate. You think it's going to take half the time?
Right.
No.
Wow.
Instead of 30 years, you pay it off in 27.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. Thank you for the paying it off an extra 3 years early.
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe that?
No.
10,000 on a 15% interest rate, you would take 27 years to pay that off.
Wow.
So even if you don't have a 10,000 limit on one card,
Right.
let's say you have $2,000 here, $3,000 there, because some people got 4 and 5 credit cards, and ultimately together it would add up to the 10 grand. It would take you almost the time that it would take to pay off a house to
Wow.
pay off 10,000.
That's
A
amazing.
house is 300,000 we're talking about.
Right.
Why would it take almost 30 years to pay off 10,000?
Wow. That interest rate, that high interest rate.
And the revolving credit, right? It's a revolving credit, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, so and then now you're talking about the auto loans, right?
Right.
Now, auto loans are a little different because you get them for like 5 years or 6 years, but
Right.
you're still paying a lot more interest than what you really think you are. Because even if you got an auto loan at, let's say, $35,000 for an auto loan,
Right.
and it was 6% interest, you're still really paying more like 30%.
Woo.
So can you see why we can't get ahead?
Yes, I do.
So Diamond, I see where oh, you gotta go.
I thought I saw that.
Uh-huh. Oh, yes, Diamond. So, if you want to, you can reach out to me, get my information, and we can, I get free, appointments, right? We can talk about your situation and talk about how we can help you. Because here's the thing. We have a program where we show people how to pay off a 30-year mortgage, their student loans, their credit cards, your car payments, all of that in 9 years or less.
Wow.
Now, this is the catch. You can pay an extra payment on your own, right?
Right.
They have strategies that people may have heard of about the snowball effect or the avalanche effect. The snowball effect is when you pay off all your small debts and you work your way up to your highest debt. And what you're trying to do is when you pay off that first debt, right?
Right.
Let's say you're paying $100 a month on that first debt. Once you pay that debt off, you still act like you're not freeing that $100 up for your pocket. You're going to act like you still have that debt and now take that $100 and put it towards your next debt. So let's say you were paying $100 on that next debt. Now, instead of paying $100 on that next debt, you're paying $200 on that debt.
And Brandy,
and then you pay that off. And so that's called the snowball effect. And
Brandy,
it's
I'm gonna tell you, I'm looking at the time and the system's gonna cut us off.
Oh!
I'm like, it's gonna shut down. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring Brandy back for a part 3. So I want to thank you again.
It's so much to talk about, right?
No, it is. And it's talking about, we need to know all this. We
Mhm.
really do. But
Mhm.
the system is saying, if you don't let shut the show down, I'm gonna do it for you. So thank you again for coming, Brandy.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all
Eh,
right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Brandy for being here. It is exactly 2:00, and what happens sometimes it'll just shut off, and I haven't done anything or nothing. So we want to thank you for being here. We will be back next week. Thank you for all your comments. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you in a week. Bye, everybody. Love you.